And like, you know, like real trees, they deplete the soil a little bit, unless there's a, if there's a healthy ecosystem, then it replenishes. Real trees, they take carbon out of the air. Okay, that part is fine. So like the trees grow, and it seems like they grow out of nothing, but actually they take carbon out of the air, out of carbon dioxide, right? And then they take the carbon off, and they use the carbon to build their tree trunks, which is kind of amazing. If you think about it, they're just kind of breathing in, and then turning that into a solid wood. But it's not really that, because wood is kind of hollow. Wood is like a bunch of straws. Hollow straws that draws water out of the ground. So there's a lot of water and there's a lot of this kind of empty space in wood. If you take wood and you, I don't know, crush it or burn it, the volume of it, of actual stuff, is less than what it appears. But anyway, it's not entirely nothing. So the tree has to take some minerals out of the ground as well. And so like over time, as a tree grows, you get less soil around the tree because it's been absorbed into the tree and been turned into tree trunks. And over really, really long periods of time, rocks get broken down and like get incorporated into the plants, and then the plants die and they decay and they turn into soil. So it's like slowly grinding away the rock and turning it into soil by, you know, processing through the trees, combining it with carbon. And of course none of that is in the game. Like when you plant a tree, you don't deplete the soil as it grows. And then when you chop the tree down, you don't like leave bits of wood lying around, which then goes back into the soil when it decomposes. All of this ties into sustainability, because if everything has to go somewhere, you think in more sustainable terms. Whereas if things just appear out of nothing, then you don't have to think in sustainable terms because they just appear, if that makes sense. Like agriculture in the real world, a lot of modern farming depletes the soil. Like you just kind of pump artificial fertilizers into the soil, and then you grow your crops and you harvest your crops and you ship the crops away. I mean, what that means is like stupid cow. Your crops are pulling minerals out of the ground, right? To grow whatever it is it's growing into. And then no, don't. What are these animals doing? They're pulling minerals out of the ground. And well, how are you going to replenish the minerals in the soil? You use artificial fertilizers, but that's not complete. Like that only gives you what the plants need, like the main minerals that the plants need. But it doesn't necessarily replenish everything back into the soil. And of course, it's erosion. Just the dirt that washes away whenever it rains. So over time the soil becomes depleted because you're just constantly extracting minerals out of the soil, harvesting it and selling the crops. And so you're like constantly pulling minerals out of the ground, effectively. Anyway, tracks. And Like, if people aren't aware of this stuff, that's a lever. Where's my buttons? And why do I have levers anyway? I don't need levers, right? Let me put the levers away. Tracks and planks. Not planks, slabs. Like, people play video games too much. They don't learn about sustainability, and worse yet, they learn like habits that don't work in the real world. Like the idea that you can just keep going out and farming, whether it's, you know, farming enemies for loot or in Minecraft just farming crops. The idea that you can just do this infinitely with no negative consequences. It's something we do in video games all the time. It's actually quite bad behavior if you try to do something like that in the real world. Nine, I guess 10, 11, 12. And you might say, whoa, Simon, we're not kids. We understand it's video games aren't the real world. No, but we are kids. Kids play Minecraft. I mean, I'm not a kid, but kids play Minecraft. Like, really young children now grow up with video games. And there's some like bad stuff in video games, like, you know, loot box mechanics or gacha mechanics, whatever you want to call them. Kind of like getting kids into the habit of gambling. Take it on, not this one. Gambling for loot. 9. I guess we'll go 10, 11, 2, 3, because there was a 9 on the other end. And what am I saying? Loot boxes, because, you know, when you are young, your brain is still developing, and whatever it is that you experience, it reinforces those brain, like those neural connections. And so what you experience when you're young has a bigger or like more consequential effect than whatever you experience in later on in life. Like, you know, if you smoke marijuana, if you smoke marijuana as an adult, it doesn't really have any effect. I mean, aside from the temporary effects of you getting high and getting hungry and all that. But if you smoke marijuana as a child, it actually impedes your brain development, and when you grow up, you have a lower IQ, like immeasurably lower IQ. Because it you know, because your brain is still growing, and so it grows into those particular patterns. Whereas when you're an adult, it's already finished growing. And so when you smoke it, it doesn't change your brain, right? Because it's already grown. Whereas if you're a kid, if you're below, I think 21 years of age, your brain is still growing to the extent that if you smoke weed then, yeah, it actually messes up your brain later on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Same with alcohol, I think. 7, 8, 9, 10. So like, you know, it's one thing to support the legalization of marijuana, but we also have to recognize that the effects things have on adults are different from the effects they have on kids who are still growing. This tree is really too close. Let me get rid of it. So I guess the same with video games. I mean, loot box is basically gambling. I mean, should kids be allowed to gamble? They shouldn't, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Because gambling like activates parts of the brain that learns rewards. Like, you know, kids shouldn't take drugs. Kids shouldn't gamble when kids shouldn't smoke weed. Penumbra says yes because the corporations say so. Yeah, well, I mean, if you let corporations make your decisions for you, they're not gonna be in your best interest. I'm just thinking about like kids playing video games with loot box mechanics. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10? 1, 2, 3. One, two, three. If a number says what, they're not in the best interest, how can you say such a thing? I can say it because I'm not a corporation. 6, 7, 8, 9. This stream is not sponsored by Blizzard. Although Blizzard have been, they have actually toned down their loot boxes. But we all remember Overwatch. Some people spend thousands of dollars every month on Overwatch loot boxes. I mean, humans are so vulnerable. Penumbra says we haven't seen Overwatch 2 yet, it's not making any assumptions about the practice yet. No, I don't think they'll go back to it. Like the gambling stuff, like it really, I mean, it makes a lot of money in the short term, but over the long term, people start to see what's going on and they get turned off by it. I don't think it's a good long-term play. And Blizzard wants to be a long-term company. Although you never know if they're, you know, ever decide they're a sinking ship, they might just cash in. Cash in all their chips. And burn all their customers before they go down. Penumbra says if they want to be a long time, why did they do Diablo Immortal and Warcraft 3 refunded? I think Diablo Immortal is fine. Diablo Immortal is just a phone game. Like, it's just a phone game they do on the side. Warcraft 3 refunded is a bit peculiar to me because they did so well with StarCraft remastered. And you think, okay, you know, we did StarCraft remastered so well, surely we can do it again with Warcraft 3. No, they can't do it again. So that blows my mind. But Diablo Immortal is just a fun game. Like, it's not even a big thing. Look, Diablo Immortal hasn't come out yet, right? If it turns out to be an awful game, okay, then I would agree. But it hasn't come out yet. Whereas Warcraft 3 Refunded has come out, and it is awful. Penumbra says it's a phone game, it's destined to be terrible. No, don't be like that, Penumbra. Look, I have a phone. I play some phone games. And I do want better phone games. So I'm rooting for Diablo Immortal to succeed just because I want better phone games. I do understand that there's skepticism. Eight, 9, 10. But I'm willing to let Blizzard have a go at it. 9, 10. That's awkward, isn't it? I think it's gonna be like that. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Do you not have phones, Penumbra? Do you not want phone games that are good? I have phones. I want good phone games. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Put it this way, I would prefer Blizzard try and fail than to have them not try with Diablo Immortal. But Warcraft 3 Reforged is really a completely different story. They're just remastering a game they already made that was already good. How could they screw that up? That doesn't make any sense. Penumbra says almost like outsourcing is a bad idea. Yeah. Yeah. Especially if you've hired all the best people in the industry, you should not outsource. Because you already have all the best people in the industry. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Five, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I mean, I want to keep it reasonable, Penumbra. Like they have made good games in the past, and they continue to be capable of making good games. And I want good games. I don't want them to fail. I want them to succeed because I want to play good games. You know what I mean? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Warcraft 3 Reforged really is not promising. Rather concerning, in fact. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I don't know. Let me just stick some powered rails here. Um, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.